So we have to go up and down. I'm sorry, we go to Indonesia now because it's going to be evening and he may be keeping Ramadan for them. So let request Professor David Hanjo Monjono, again a great speaker. He's a member of Indonesia Academy of Sciences, the Deputy Director of Transnational Research, having a hepatitis laboratory. He traveled, everywhere. Specifically, he worked with Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. He got a lot of awards if I go and read. So we have one thing in common, this JSPS, which I also got, I was there, so Japanese science promotion. Let me, without any further things, let me request Professor David, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Professor Mohamed Nasser, for your nice introduction. It's an excellent opportunity and honor to me to have such a good time to share what we are doing and how we see and view related with COVID-19 and the SDG. May I share my screen now? Yeah. Okay, can you see this?
You see it. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so my talk is about research response to COVID-19 in Indonesia. This is just to discuss about applying SDG logics for resilient transformation. As has been discussed by other speakers, and as we know that the epidemic of COVID-19 has spread rapidly worldwide, and this has affected societies globally at all levels, and substantial damages to the economy worldwide, and also presenting a wide range of social problems in most impacted countries. As we can see that this virus is easily to adapt, and there is ethnogeographical adaptation across regions. And we see that it originated from Wuhan, but passing several ethnic populations and geographical regions, they have adapted themselves and become many clades in the world, and also produce many variants, including those variants of concern that have been commented in many parts of the world. And what about Indonesia? Indonesia also suffered from COVID-19, and in Indonesia confirmed the first case more than 1 year ago, 2nd of March, and in April the 9th, the pandemic has spread to 34 provinces in the country. In June 17th, we reached the highest number of cases in Southeast Asia. And yesterday, the number of confirmed cases was 1.6 million people. This is around 1% of the global cases, with more than 2.5 million recoveries. And fortunately, I would be happy to report that there is sign of improvements in the last few months. What have been done in Indonesia? We have done combination of containment and mitigation activities to anticipate the resurging and also the further spread, especially contact tracing, self-isolation or quarantine, and also promotion of public health measures in all aspects. This is, I would like to share that we use the primary health care because the health program and healthcare systems is not be successful if we only rely on from top-down programs, but the connection, also the role of the people should be engaged. So we perform community engagement, and we also started a nationwide vaccination, which was started on the 13th of January. We aim to inoculate 181 and a half million people by early next year. And we got the access through COVAX, the WHO, and we, in parallel with vaccine development efforts for self-sufficiency. Ladies and gentlemen, so uh, as I just mentioned that the pandemic has serious impacts on the ability of many nations to achieve sustainable development, which is targeted in the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And actually, there is response, vigorous research response in countries with established healthcare systems and research infrastructure. This is, we know everything about this, but actually, sadly, there is unbalanced resilience, and there are critical research questions specific to the needs of resource limited settings, uh, unlikely to answer, hard to answer. So what is the response of the world community against this? And a group formed by WHO named WHO STAC, stands for Strategic and Technical Advisory Group for Infectious Hazards, have outlined several research gaps that need to be addressed for the response to COVID-19. I don't read all the points here, but I just want to highlight that the fill the gaps in understanding natural history is important, and also different quarantine strategies which has been applied in Indonesia, and also point of care tests are important, and also we need to apply the best knowledge about infection prevention and control in healthcare settings in resource constrained countries. Indonesia consists of uh, more than 17,000 islands, and 30,000 are inhabited. So there's a disparity of development levels. In the West, the economic and social developments are good, but those in the eastern part of Indonesia, the level of developments are uh, slower and lower because of the most of the islands are situated and scattered in the sea. And the next is the clinical medicine, also control trials, and we also need to validate testings which have been imported, and of course this also have entered many countries of of yours, and also we need to be self-sufficient by complete work of animal models, vaccine, and therapeutic research. And what are the things that have been done in Indonesia? I would like to share some research and development activities in Indonesia. The first is genetic characterization and molecular surveillance of SARS-CoV Indonesia for the gradient for the materials that is used to develop our own vaccine. And we perform molecular diagnostics, antibody testing, validation of serological tools. We perform several clinical trials, and of course, we try to reuse or to maximize the utilization of existing resources uh, and equipments, and we provide the locally adaptable tools like mechanical ventilators and also mobile patient containment, considering that we consist of many islands spread over the sea. So this is one example that we have effort in genomic surveillance. Why? Because as I mentioned earlier, there's a high adaptive capacity of the virus, and we have more than 500 ethnic populations. And this diversity is associated with diversity of susceptibility and also resistance of the disease. And that is reflected in the diversity of the pathogens. So we need to do this to molecularly survey and monitor. So the first objective is molecular epidemiology characteristic and impact on health. And also we track sudden increase of COVID-19 cases for disease management and prevention. Because we know that Indonesia is the crossroad of the traffic in the world. We've situated from the west to the east and the north to the south. Uh, we have so many borders and we have a very long shoreline, and we need also to have coordination at national and global levels. All of these will be translated into policy recommendations. On the right are collaborative efforts that on genomic surveillance between the Minister of Research and Technology and the Minister of Health. This is an example that collaborations between sectors uh, and government agencies are needed for the continuation of sustainable development goals. And this is the clade distribution, as I mentioned earlier, that initially there are only 3 clades when the virus exists in Wuhan, but now it has been expanded and dispersed into many clades, and the most prevalent is GH clades, but there are many clades that also prevail in Indonesia. And these are on the right are the number of complete whole genome sequencing by province that have been submitted to GIS-8, and including the variants of concern that are understudied and have been discussed, a matter of uh, a topic for discussions in many journals in the world. Now, we need to be self-sufficient and self-resilient. We are developing we call this our own vaccine, or merah putih or red and white vaccine, consisting of the 2 colors representing the colors of the Indonesian flag. The urgency is to fulfill the national need, because we cannot rely on the benefit of products of other countries. We have to produce it ourselves. And also we need to accelerate for economic recovery, because everything is stopped and uh, stagnant because of this COVID-19. And also in this case, we use virus isolates circulating in Indonesia. We develop uh, in-house vaccine, and we also collaborate with overseas partners. Uh, uh, we we are developing several platforms of vaccine, the red and white vaccine, using subunit protein recombinant technology, protein recombinant, genetic uh, base, DNA, mRNA, and also inactivities virus. And I'm very sorry, this is still Indonesian, but basically I would like to share that we are developing different platforms with could be specific for the characteristics of viruses and feasible to be transmitted or to be given to different parts of our country. So I don't know, plan to give a long talk, but this could be my 2 last slides. That back to the questions: how are we going with our SDGs? There have been commentators that uh, due to the impacts of COVID-19, there is a need to revise the SDGs. But uh, we are in Indonesia, and also supported by other investigators and our colleagues from other countries, We think that the elements in the SDGs uh, distributed in 17 goals are sufficient. And what we need to do is this pandemic should be regarded as an opportunity and a driving force for changes in the main sectors embraced in the SDGs by mobilization of researchers and learned society and research capacity building and empowerment. And also I would refer to the previous speaker that we also need to mobilize the social capacity for financing to take to accelerating sustainable development. So that if we are successful in mobilizing these capacities, this will be realized in two important goals. That is back to the goals here. There are two outlets, that is by innovation, which is this ninth goal, SDG 9, and collaboration between scientists, collaborations between sectors or agencies in a country, and at this moment, collaborations between agencies from different countries. As now we are talking in with different distinguished guests from many countries. It's time, and we need to start collaboration that is practicing SDG number 17. And this need to be achieved by two ways, that is science-based and research-informed policymaking. So if we can integrate the scientists with policymakers and give information as the basis for strategy development, we would be together be successful in doing this. I think I would like to thank for the opportunity, and I would like to return this to the moderator. Thank you very much.